Hi friends, this is my driveway and this is a little plant coming up in the middle of nowhere. Like, what the? But isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting how some things just pop up like out of nowhere and you're just like, you weren't there yesterday. How come you're here today? Where did you come from? And I have to say, being in nature does that all the time and every single day. Like, I don't know if you've, seen my videos, but there's one where I was sitting on my veranda and I was looking over and I saw this thing on the paddock floor and I was like, what is that? And I took my little car and I went over there and it was looked like some sort of mushroom, but it wasn't really. It was like a ball. And I've got this plant ID on my phone. So I did that and it came up that it was like this pom-pom mushroom, but you can't eat them. But it wasn't there the day before and it came up overnight. And that's what made me look at it. And this year I have had a heap come up. So I don't know if it is because I've been mowing and I'm a pretty consistent mower. And so that's adding mulch to the soil that wasn't there. So it doesn't mean it's really good soil, but it means it's better than what was there. So yeah, I'm definitely going to, as soon as the rains come, definitely use these points as the first points I'm going to be growing things. But it's just really interesting, like in the paddock, where there's just absolutely nothing. But if you look closer, there's all like those little plants coming up absolutely everywhere. And of course, if you get a whole heap together, it's going to make the whole paddock green. And that's exactly what's happening. Like, it's interesting, just in the 3 weeks that I've been filming, which is not much at all, gosh, the ground has really changed. And it's so funny because it's like one day at a time. Like each day there's this really tiny little change. But when you put all these tiny changes together over a 3 week period, you get these massive, outcome or massive change. It's going to be really interesting to put the different footages up against each other and just see what difference happened. I really do think you're gonna see, when an artist is doing a and a proper artist that does all the different colors over the background. And when they're doing the background, like they do one color and then they do another color, or they do it light and then it gets darker and darker as it progresses. And that's exactly what's happening to my paddocks, is that each day it's just slowly getting darker and darker and greener and greener and greener. And the trees are getting greener and greener and greener. And it's not water that they're getting. Like we're not getting rain. But in the morning and in the evening, especially in the morning, there's lots of condensation. So that condensation really does make a big difference to the grass and to the trees. And do you know that the more plants and trees that you've got and grasses that you've got on your land, then the longer the condensation will stay on your land. So you know what that means? The longer it stays on your land, the more it's going to give you. So that's why these open paddocks stay the driest for the longest, is because, you know, for the condensation to stay down here, there's really not much inviting it to party. Where, you know, you can see wherever there's coverage, it's greener. And also, you know, that's why I wanted to keep this paddock next to my dam long, because I just wanted to see what would happen if I did that and how that would cope over the hot summer. And I definitely am really happy. I have mowed this though, so there is a difference. Like, you can't leave it at all, you know, because it just becomes a fire hazard. So you do have to be smart about it. And I was watching it the whole time and stuff as well, really watching what it did. And if you can see, it's actually done really well. And it's now got some really big green bits coming through. The difference about this versus, you know, this little green bit that's, oh yeah, that's popping up everywhere. But you know what? That will just fade away. This is really strong. So now, I guarantee you, if you pulled out a root system of this to a root system of this one would be much longer. And again, that's what you want, because that means it's going to retain more water. And that's the whole idea of what I'm trying to do, is trying to keep as much water on my property for as long as, you know, possible, to feed all the plants and all the animals and stuff. Because as you can see, it's really, really dry. And it just should never get this dry. So if there's lots and lots of plants and, you know, lots of life, it will never ever get this dry again. It's going to be really interesting watching this, you know, come back or have a winter with, you know, lots of assistance. Because last year I just sort of watched it. I didn't really know what I could do. Where this year I'm just going to get in and try anything, you know. I've just done so much research, and, you know, I can't do anything until the rains come. But as soon as that rain comes, I'm in. I'm in, and I'm going to give everything an absolute go. To be honest, I just don't think I can do anything, you know, wrong by the land at the moment. So if I just keep, you know, doing what I'm doing, just my little bits, I think it will all, you know, work itself out. And I think, you know, nature will come to the party and, you know, do its job as well. And as I said, to me, I just think everything looks happier here, being, you know, maintained and looked after. Definitely looks better than it did at the end of summer last year. And as I said, it's not a massive change, but I haven't really done much. So, and this area gets really, it's quite got heavy traffic. So if I'm not gonna focus on this area really at all. My big focus is my brook and my dam this winter. My big thing at the moment is taking that fence down around that brook, because I just think, it's going to be such a difference when that happens. And I think such a difference to this part. I really do. It'd be really, really interesting to see if it does have an effect. And this is the thing, like, I think this is life too, isn't it? Like, you really have no idea if the things that you are doing are working. You really don't. But I think you should look at the environment and the response that you are getting by the things that you are doing. And if you are getting good responses from people, well, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not, and just be careful of getting being someone's puppet that you're, waiting for them to respond to tell you how to be, too, that you don't want to be that either. You want to make sure that how you feel is paramount. That's it. That's the most important thing here. Do I feel good with these people? Or with this thing that I'm doing, this change? Like, pulling down that fence is going to be a fairly big job. And thing I don't like is I'm going to end up with all this waste. But I'm going to go and see the guys down at the tip in my local area, and they're really good. So I'm going to see if they can maybe offer it to somebody else, or maybe another farmer can use it. I don't know, but I would really love to give it a go. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, just because something doesn't suit you and doesn't suit your farm and your way of doing things, doesn't mean somebody else isn't going to, love that thing and give that thing that you don't want a place. And that's why I always say, it doesn't matter what other people are saying or telling you to do. It's what feels good inside of you, because you're the one that's got to keep it up. That's why not everyone wants to do this, I know some people are looking at me going, yuck, that just looks terrible. Why would you want to do that? But this is my thing at the moment, and I just love it. And the thing is for me to do this, I have to be really, really dedicated. Otherwise, because you just can't half do this. It's not fair. It's not fair to nature. Like, nature needs somebody at the moment to just really, really, really focus on it. And if we can show people how easily it is to bring back your area with your natives, you could do this anywhere in the world. So it's not just a Pammy thing. Like, this honestly could be done anywhere. If you just look around and see, oh look, if I just plant a native there, and as I said, the biggest thing I try to do is mimic what's already here. If, like, even in my brook, there's not that many trees, but there still is a couple of, different ones. So I'm going to mimic that. And I'm just going to bring those out here, and then ones that I know grow in this area. So I'm not going to do anything to this that, it hasn't already had, and it knows what to do. And then I think I will see straight away how it goes, because they'll either survive or not. And if they're made for this area, they should survive really well. And I think that's the same with when you're doing things. How well is it going? Is it going well, whatever you're focusing on? Is it working out how you want it to be? Do you feel really good about it? And if it does, well, keep doing the things that you're doing. You're on the right path. But if you were focusing on something and it just isn't happening, it's how you're going about it. And you need to change that. And look around here. It's tiny, tiny little changes. That's what you need to do. Mix it up. You can't do the same thing and expect a different outcome. It's insanity. But as I said, just make really tiny changes. Plant one seed today towards what you want to do, where you want to go. As I said, there is no way I could take this massive job on, 50 acres, all by myself, if I looked at life that everything was too hard. You know, it's really interesting. I had twins 32 years ago, and whenever anyone ever used to see my twins, they'd go, "Oh, twins, how cute," you know. And it didn't really matter what age, whether they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know. "Oh, twins," you know. When I tell people I have twins, they go, "Oh, that must have been really hard." And I'm like, isn't it interesting how we've switched from twins being really cute to twins being really hard work in 30 years? And you think that's interesting, because if we think that about one thing, imagine how many little things that we used to think are really cute but are now hard work. And they're not, because I can tell you now, having twins was not hard work. It was one of the most beautiful things ever. And do you know what? They say, and it's proven, that twins are actually better behaved children because they're used to waiting for things. So they're more relaxed and they're more chilled, and I can tell you now, my girls are best friends. And that's what they did, that all through their life. You know, even they used to have little fights in here. Who don't you fight with when you live with somebody 24/7? You know, so, but of course they did. They were finding boundaries and stuff. But they are now best friends, and they share everything. So, you know, I never brought them up as they were hard work. I never made them think that they were, you know, a you know, thing on my shoulders. You know, it was an absolute privilege to have twins, and I think that's how we should look at life. It's a privilege to be here. Look at where we're living. Look at what we have means to. We are living the best life ever in the best time ever. And we're thinking everything is really hard. And I think, you know what? I think because we're looking at it at such a big thing, instead of, you know what? I've only got now. What can I do right now? Right now for that's little, for that thing I want to do. That's all. Just one little tiny thing. And go and do it. And do it well. And then tomorrow, do another little tiny thing towards it. And you will be amazed. You know, you do that for 7 days and you've got 7 little tiny things that you have done. And I can tell you what, looking back and seeing all the things that you've done, like when I'm walking around my farm and I look at little tiny things I've done, you know, like little tiny things like putting the rocks around the tree. And you have no idea how many weeks that took. But the end result was amazing. And my little trunks around, you know, my little tree trunks around my trees. And my chair down here and my mowed lawn and, you know, my bulrushes down at my dam. Every little tiny thing I have done, I just look at it as like a little Pammy accomplishment. And I'm like, you know what? Good on me. And I can tell you, I still got a lot to do. But it will happen. And I can tell you now, it won't happen by me winning lotto and getting a big truck down here and getting everything brought in. Because that's not going to happen. It's going to happen by me doing it really, really slowly. And I'm cool with that. I'm actually really looking forward to the adventure. Because I'm going to use all the skills that I had having my twins and, you know, running a business for 20 years and all of those things that I've done in my past life for this life. And that's what you do. Whatever tools you've got in life, you use them for the things in your job. You know, I always laugh when people say, oh, you know, I'm a different person at work than I am at home. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not. You're actually the same person. And you shouldn't be different. You know, you should give work the same great person that you give home. Or you should give home that same great person that you're giving at work. You shouldn't be different. You should, you know what? If you're the same everywhere, it's really easy. Everybody knows who you are. That's what I've worked out. And it's so much easier to just be you. Everybody else is taken anyway. Have a beautiful day remembering it is those teeny, tiny, tiny things that you do that make the biggest difference to your life. This little tiny, tiny plan is going to make this whole part look different once it all fills in together. It's all part of the bigger picture. And once you get going on this, it gets easier and easier because you get so darn good at it. Have a beautiful day. Bye.